The first time Layla met Chief Petty Officer Marcus Hale, she thought he looked more like a quiet professor than a man who had spent 15 years in the Navy SEALs. He carried himself with the calm center of someone who had seen storms most people couldn't imagine, yet somehow he made the world around him feel steady. She joined the combat readiness gym 3 months after moving to San Diego, determined to get stronger, to become someone who would never again flinch at shadows or memories. Marcus taught the advanced kickboxing group, and Layla never one to ask for special treatment if threw herself into every drill like her life depended on it. Everybody in the gym respected Marcus. He didn't yell, he didn't show off, he didn't need to. The way the room shifted when he walked in, the quiet way his eyes measured everything, the control in every move, many of those said enough. Most people only discovered later, through whispers, that he had been part of SEAL Team 7 before retiring. He never talked about it. Layla loved the training. It made her feel awake in a way her 9-to-5 accounting job never could. But the gym wasn't all discipline and respect. A group of 3, Mina, Evan, Luke, and Dalton, treated the place like their private arena. They were advanced level fighters, strong, aggressive, and far too proud of both. Marcus kept a close eye on them, especially when new students sparred. He never outright reprimanded them, but he didn't need to. One sharp look from him made even their egos falter. But the more Layla improved, the more they noticed her. She wasn't big, she wasn't intimidating, she didn't brag. She just showed up, trained, and quietly outperformed people who had been there years longer. That bothered them. It was a Thursday evening when Marcus announced mixed-level sparring rotations. Control comes first, he reminded them. Technique, respect your partner. If you go hard, make sure you can pull back just as fast. Layla nodded along with the others, adjusting her gloves. She liked sparring. It frightened her just a little, but it thrilled her too. She waited to see whom she'd be paired with. When Evan stepped forward, grinning, she felt something inside her tighten. Marcus had his back turned, talking to another student. Layla considered speaking up, asking for a different partner. But the fear of looking weak clamped around her throat. She had trained too hard to be afraid. "Ready?" Evan asked, tapping his gloves together. "Ready," she said, though her voice cracked slightly. The first minute went fine. Evan pressed the pace, but Layla dodged and countered with a clean efficiency Marcus drilled into her. She even landed a solid roundhouse to Evan's ribs, surprising him enough to draw a laugh from Luke across the mat. But then his expression shifted. The grin hardened. He pushed faster, harder, less control. Layla tried to keep her breathing steady, but she felt the rhythm slip. She threw up her guard too late, absorbing a heavy body shot. Before she recovered, Evan stepped into the clinch, arms looping around her neck. It happened so fast she didn't fully process the danger. Then pressure tightened around her throat. This wasn't a controlled grappling choke. This wasn't training. Her fingers clawed at his forearm. "Even a stopa, hey, a stopa." The words came out thin, strangled. He didn't ease up. If anything, he squeezed harder. "Come on," he muttered. "Fight out of it." Panic flooded her. Her legs kicked at the mat. Black dots crowded the edge of her vision. She managed to gasp, "Ia Candibradia." No one noticed at first. The class was loud. Gloves thumped. Music played. But Luke and Dalton saw. They didn't intervene. They laughed. And that was the sound Marcus turned toward. He didn't move at first. He didn't shout. He didn't ask what was happening. He saw. And something ancient, cold, and lethal woke behind his eyes. In 4 steps he crossed the mat. "Evan," he said, voice low. "Let go of her." Evan didn't release. Maybe he thought Marcus wouldn't intervene physically. Maybe he thought this was still just sparring. Maybe he didn't think at all. Marcus didn't give him another warning. He grabbed Evan's wrist, rotated it at an angle the human arm simply wasn't built to endure, and tore him backward. The choke broke instantly. Evan collapsed, clutching his arm with a shout. The room went silent. Marcus didn't look angry, not in the way people imagined anger. His face was calm, almost expressionless. But a cold pressure filled the air, something heavy and sharp enough to freeze everyone in place. Layla coughed violently, hands at her throat. Marcus knelt beside her, not touching, just close enough for her to feel anchored again. "Deep breaths," he said quietly. She did, trembling with each inhale. Only once he confirmed she could breathe did he rise. "Outside," he said to Evan, Luke, and Dalton. They followed, shaken, because there was something in Marcus's tone that no one refused. The class stayed frozen as the door closed behind them. No one knows exactly what Marcus said outside. Some of the advanced fighters later claimed they'd heard his voice. He a quiet, steady cutting through the hallway like a blade. No yelling, no threats, just a simple, razor-edged truth about safety, respect, and the fact that if they ever endangered another student intentionally, they would not be welcome in any gym he trained in, nor any he had friends in. And Marcus had a lot of friends. When the door reopened, the three men disappeared into the locker room and didn't return. Marcus walked back to Layla. "You're done for today," he told her. She nodded, too shaken to argue. He helped her unlace her gloves, checking the bruise forming along her neck. "Do you need a doctor?" "No," she whispered. "Just a broken bar." He escorted her outside where the night was cool and quiet. She leaned against the wall, eyes closed, breathing slowly. "I'm sorry," Marcus said softly. "I should have stopped it sooner." "It wasn't your fault," she whispered. "It was my class," he said. "Everything that happens in it is my responsibility." She opened her eyes, the way he said I'd firm, unyielding made heat rise in her chest. People rarely protected her, not like that. When she felt steady enough, she drove home. She didn't sleep that night. She kept remembering the choke, the moment she really thought she might pass out under his arms. But the louder memory was Marcus's voice, low and fierce, cutting through the terror. The next morning, her bruised throat ached every time she swallowed. She skipped work, planning to rest and maybe ice her neck again. But at 10:17 a.m., someone knocked. She peered through the peephole. Marcus Hale stood outside. She opened the door, startled. "Marcus, how did you?" "I asked the gym owner for your emergency contact," he said, stepping back as if to show he meant no harm. "I wanted to check if you were okay. I also need to tell you something important." Her pulse jumped, though she didn't know why. "Come in," she said. He entered with the cautious respect of someone stepping into sacred ground. He didn't look around or pry. He just waited. "I filed an incident report with the gym," he said, "and I suspended all three of them for safety violations." Layla felt relief release from her chest. "Thank you, but that's not why I came." He hesitated, and Layla saw for the first time something vulnerable flicker across his expression. When someone shows intent to harm another person during training, there can be repercussions outside the gym. "I have contacts in law enforcement who investigate violent misconduct. This might not go that far, but I need you to know I'm willing to help if you choose to file a complaint." Her throat tightened, this time for a different reason. "Marcus, a broken bar, it's fine. I don't want to drag this out. I just want to move on." He studied her, eyes calm but searching. "If you ever change your mind, tell me." She nodded, touched by the sincerity in his voice. "And Layla?" he added gently. "You didn't do anything wrong. You fought clean. You warned him to stop. They're the ones responsible." Her eyes stung. "Thank you." He offered a faint, warm smile. "Rest today. I'll see you when you're ready to train again." She thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't. The next day, the gym buzzed with rumors. People whispered that something had happened to the three men after they left. Not physically, Marcus hadn't touched them beyond breaking the hold, but something more frightening. They had been banned from 3 other local gyms, all run by friends of Marcus. One of Marcus's former teammates even worked at a law enforcement training facility and wanted to speak with them. Word traveled fast in military-adjacent communities. No one bullied anyone at the gym for a long time after that. When Layla returned 5 days later, Marcus was teaching class again. His gaze lingered on her throat and he noticed the fading blue eyes, but he didn't draw attention to them. "You good?" he asked quietly. "I'm here," she said. He smiled. "That counts." She resumed training, and Marcus paired her only with people he trusted. Weeks passed, and the spark between them, gentle, cautious, grew into something neither denied. They trained together after hours sometimes. He taught her techniques he didn't teach the general class, movements that were more like a dance than combat. "You learn fast," he told her once. "You teach quietly," she replied. "It helps." Their moments together felt effortless, natural, as if the world narrowed to a space where neither fear nor ego belonged. But it was a Friday afternoon 2 months later when everything changed again. Layla had just finished cooling down when the gym doors opened and a tall, Authoritative man stepped inside. He wore the crisp uniform of a Navy admiral. The entire room fell into silence. He walked straight toward Marcus. "Chief Hale," the admiral said. Marcus stiffened. "Admiral Ritter, I hear you intervened in an assault here a while back," Ritter said, loud enough for others to hear but not confrontational. Marcus didn't flinch. "Yes, sir." Ritter's gaze swept the gym, then returned to Marcus. "You showed discipline, control, and loyalty, traits we don't overlook." Then, in a tone gentler than expected, he added, "Remember my name, Hale. You're retired, but we don't forget men who protect others when it counts." Marcus said nothing, but Layla saw the emotion flicker brief, buried. Ritter looked around once more, nodded, and left as quickly as he came. The gym erupted in murmurs. Layla approached Marcus carefully. "What was that?" "A reminder," he said softly, "that some people still expect things from me." She touched his arm lightly. "Is that a bad thing?" He looked at her then, really looked, and something in his expression eased. "No," he said, "not anymore," because he had something new anchoring him, someone worth staying for. The incident that nearly took her breath away had done something unexpected. It made him choose to protect again, not because he had to, but because he cared. And Layla, bruised throat, steady heart, looked up at the man who had snapped a fight in half to save her and whispered, "Good. Then remember my name too." Marcus's breath caught. "I already do," he murmured, and the warmth in his voice made the world, for a moment, feel safe again.